It's just about 6 o'clock. So if you guys are all right with it, we're going to go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Awesome. So we kind of started these up, right? Like productivity coaching has been kind of a makeshift, like Mod Podge of let's get together and hang out and let's talk. And we've done a couple of courses over the last couple of months. And so we've started these calls last week. That was our first official one. And just through regular connections with you guys, Erin and I were just randomly on a call one day, and I think we were doing your coaching session or something, and we were just chatting, Erin, and I don't know, there's just something about Erin that she's relentless and she has an incredible mindset. And I randomly was just like, hey, what do you think about doing this? And I was excited that she agreed. And she has a million awesome stuff. Like we could probably do 5 sessions with Erin, just on mindset and accountability. And so, Erin, you've been licensed for how long? 5?
Almost 5 years now.
Yeah, 5 years. And she's been a top performer in Kent County, I mean, right out of the gate. And so she's got a certain mindset that goes along with that. And she's carried it with her throughout her life. And so she's going to talk a little bit with you guys about that. And I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a good time for us all to get together and hear some different perspective on what helps her stay accountable and keep her mindset really good, not only just now, but all the time. So there was your awesome introduction.
Yay, thank you. So as you guys can see kind of behind me a little bit, like I'm a huge Disney fanatic. I love my Disney dolls. They're collector editions. I absolutely, it's my favorite room in my entire house. So I can kind of come in here and sit and just kind of chill out. But I like to come in here first thing in the morning a lot of the time just to be able to get my mindset correct. So the biggest thing that I wanted to be able to talk about was accountability, time management, and then motivation as well. So this room is kind of my motivator, and also being able to sit down and just be able to take that mind and put it where it needs to be for the day. So like one of the biggest things that I wanted to find out from everybody is what you guys are doing first thing in the morning to hold yourself accountable for what you're going to do throughout the day or what your productivity is going to look like throughout the day.
Well, I'm kind of I'm a list maker. So my big thing is I have to, write down the things that I want to accomplish for the day. And I don't always finish that list, but usually when I cross something out, I'm adding something else. So I always know, what I need to focus on. So that's what, I have to write these things down, and I try to be as specific as possible. I learned that last week. It's good to be specific.
And it's a really good thing to do. I'll 100% agree with that. I personally like to do that myself every Monday. I will take usually the first part of my morning to plan out my entire week. Now, obviously, as real estate agents, we know that it's not going to go exactly as planned. Something's going to come up. There's a lot of noise that's going on around us. So we're going to end up being a tad bit distracted or a tad bit out of order. As long as I can get to the end of that list, then that makes me happy. That makes me feel satisfied. It helps me make sure that I stay on track, because I also notice that if I start to fall behind, I'm adding more things to the list the following week, and then I've not even finished what I started last week. So it's a big deal for me to make sure that I get through that list throughout that week. Do you guys ever find yourselves to where there's too much going on around you to where you can't get to the end of that list?
Yes, all the time. Just when you said that you were, you have your space where you get your mind right. I was just thinking that that's what I need to do, because, I have a 2-year-old throwing stuffed animals behind me, and, a dog, and it's absolutely crazy. So it's I don't know how I get everything done, but I need to have maybe set aside time and space where I could just focus on that. Because my list right now, it's probably a little different from other people's, because I just got my license. I just got on Bright a few days ago. So
you're brand new.
I'm still like navigating all those things and not having face-to-face contact with everybody. Like right now, that's basically what I've just been doing, trying to figure out DocuSign and all these things kind of on my own a little bit. So
why are you walking around outside in the rain? Come here, this way.
So, I am new like Katie. I just did my orientation right before the pandemic hit in March. So I'm actually hoping I get some ideas from you guys, because I kind of feel like stagnant at a standstill of like, what do I do? Because I didn't get my feet wet in the market yet. So.
Well, I will honestly say that what better time to start than now, okay? Because now is the moment where everything happens. You have control over what you do. So that's the biggest thing that I tell myself on a daily basis, is that I can't control what's going on with the pandemic. I can't control what's going on with the market. We can't control interest rates, all the things that's going on out there, but I can control exactly what I do, and I can control how many people I'm touching on a daily basis. So I like to make sure that I always look at that and then just continue to keep following through with it, because no matter what, we're people, we're going to fail, but it's just a matter of getting back up and continuing to keep moving.
So what would your
on the failure?
So what would your suggestion be for me, since that's your question, as far as what are you doing in the morning to start your day, far as me being new and no final clients, or haven't shown any homes. I've gone out on tours with some other peers, but other than that, nothing that I've done.
So really, I mean, just thinking about that, and still being new, because I completely understand that feeling as well, not having that clientele to be able to touch base with. So it really, like Danielle actually taught me this too, because I was trying to figure out how to do a lead generation program, and I was like, oh, I came from a different broker before I came over to Keller, and I relied solely on my team leader to give me leads. So of course I recruited my own, but I relied solely on her. So when it went down to me doing it on my own, I had to figure out what to do. So I even talked to Danielle, and she spoke to me about how many people do I know? And then from how many people do I know, how many people can I expand out from that sphere as well? So really it's going to come down to, Kiara, figuring out all of the people that you know, even if it means write it down, because that's what I had to do, because I'm a big visual person, writing down everybody that I knew, and then reaching out to every single one of them, reminding them that I was an agent. Because how many agents do a lot of our friends most likely know, because we're all around in the same circle. We have to try and get our name out there so that we're the first person that they think of when it comes down to buying, selling, renting, whatever their housing market may need.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
I also went to the dollar store and got a box of cards and sent out a bunch of cards to people, little notes, and put something at the end. And it could be anyone, but just to remind them you're a realtor. Reaching out to agents too, anybody.
I think that I have to comment on Erin's original response, and then I also want to comment on the second one. But the original response was, there's no better time to be in real estate. And I couldn't agree more, right? So guys, I got into the industry when the first recession occurred. Like 2007 is when I started. And so I learned very quickly what was important and what wasn't important. And no matter what, the foundational pieces that make you successful in this business are the same. And so you have this really unique ability to focus on those and not worry about all the other noise right now, right? So Kiara asked me this question. She sent me an amazing email, and she got me thinking about this. And so next week on our call, we're digging into, as a new agent, what are the foundational pieces that you have to be focused on in order to gain clientele. So I couldn't agree more with Erin that it's a perfect time to get in. And the actions are the same, and yet it's almost simpler because you don't have to worry about all this extra stuff. Because it's so confusing when you first get in. You're like, oh, what am I supposed to focus on? Is it this? Is it this?
Right.
you know, you just stay focused on building relationships, and asking for the business. So we'll talk about that next week, but I think it's an amazing question. And Katie actually asked it last week, I think, in our call. And I think Dale has asked me the same thing. So you guys are all in the same boat, and we're going to get some concise answers for you so that you can really hunker down and focus on those things. The next thing I want to, go ahead, Kira. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think Katie was going to speak next.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm such a big mouth. This Zoom calls don't work for me. I'm so loud and obnoxious. Okay, so I was just saying, like, you know, it's like we have all this quiet time almost to just build up all these relationships. And then, you know, when things start opening up again and we're able to go to festivals and we're able to actually get out there, I feel like, you know, we're going to be so well prepared for that. Maybe. I don't know. That's what I think.
I 100% agree. We are in this really unique time where we can deepen connections and relationships. And the market share that's taken during this time will not be given back. So you have this ability where some agents are not making the connections. They're doing other things. They're doing house projects, or they're hanging out with, I mean, you got to hang out with your kids. So don't take that the wrong way at all. But there are certain things that agents aren't doing right now. So you guys get this opportunity where you can set yourself up to win. You just have to take the actions to do it. And then I have to talk about the thing with Erin about how she said, who do you already know? Like, that is where you start. Like, pick up your phone, go to your contacts, and look at how many contacts are in there. And this is a really good rule of thumb. If you take that number and multiply it by 6%, that's how many transactions you should net from your own database, the people you already know, every year. It's an incredible number. When you look at it, you're going to be like, what? Remember when
Thank you, everyone.
And really, it's not to make light of the situation of what we have going on with this pandemic, but really, when you think about it, it's to come down and say, like, how many people are we touching? Okay, so the way that this thing spreads is it's the same type of effect, if you want to think of it like that. So it's like we talk to one person, and then that other person talks to the next person, because we do work in a very high referral based business. And then you don't want people to say things bad, because if you only touch them, if they're a rental client and you only touch them until the point of them renting, and then you're done because you're like, oh, they're just a renter, they're going to forget about you and they're going to go on to the next person or the property manager that's been helping them. So it's really about keeping that connection together throughout an entire process. And I like that Keller Williams actually gives us the tools in command to be able to do that, because I was like, wow, this is so awesome when I came on board.
Love it.
But, yep. Now I just like me and Danielle talked about, I could keep on going on about the accountability piece forever, because it's something that I enjoy talking about. I'm very passionate about that. But I'm passionate about motivation as well. I really like to develop and help other people. So being able to, I'm not a big motivational speaker, but I, on a daily basis, will watch videos and I'll go into like different ideas or different books to be able to kind of dig in. And there was something that I actually, I listened to it on Audible recently, but I've known about this specific commencement ceremony for years. Okay. It happened in 2014. And I only just sent this over to Danielle earlier, but it was just a speech or a blurb piece out of it. It's about a 7-minute long video. Okay. But it is an admiral that works for the Navy SEAL. So he's military. Okay. And this piece actually went into motivation, and then on top of it as well, it jumped into more of an accountability piece. So they kind of did go hand in hand together. So this kind of starts off with like, how do you start your day type thing. And this isn't the video, Danielle, so don't post it yet, because that's the next one.
I didn't post the video. I just said the information of what it's called so they could look it up.
Yes. Yep. Okay. But because there is going to be a video that I'm going to put on here, and I know we're on a time constraint as well. But I'm going to kind of read off of one of the quotes that really sits with me the most as far as what this admiral said. Okay. He has a book as well that's called Make Your Bed. And then the quote specifically is, if you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task and another and another. By the end of the day, the one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed, and making your bed will also reinforce the fact that things matter. How does everybody perceive that statement?
My mother raised us to make sure we made our bed as soon as we got out the bed. So I'm so used to making my bed, and I don't feel complete if I don't make my bed. So that makes a lot of sense.
I like it too, because to me, it's almost like sometimes you could be really overwhelmed with everything laid out ahead of you for the day, but it kind of simplifies things, like, okay, this is one task, get it done, and it feels good and it makes you want to move on to the next one. But just thinking about everything all at once makes you,
And it does. And he even goes into state inside of the video. And if you guys take that few minutes to watch it, you'll see. But he even talks about if you don't get everything accomplished throughout the day, or if you feel as though that you failed, at least the one thing that you can walk to at the end of the day is a made bed. So there's an accomplishment right there. So then there's no need to feel like a failure, because you did accomplish something that day. So
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, Calvin.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for your permission. Well, I always have to say something, right, Aaron?
That's all right. That's why we love you.
So in reference to the quotation, yeah, I've heard that quotation before, and I love it because, even today, yesterday, we just had a quick LeBron's thing that Danielle had put it up in the meeting. It kind of plays in the same thing, like early morning today, usually my morning routine is 5:30, but I was wide up and I was lazy, but I was let's get out of my bed, get on my feet, make my bed, and get my day starting. That kind of gave me additional 3 hours of the day that I could have just lost it in the morning, basically. Does that make sense?
Thanks for sharing. Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. And this is all new for a lot of us. Most people aren't used to working out of their homes, so people are struggling with that. So even just the thought that you said to yourself, I'm going to get up and I'm going to get out of bed because I'm not going to waste any time. That's almost where you have to hold yourself accountable. That's what it comes down to, is you're telling yourself, it's time to get up. I need to get up. You're not using any excuse. You're not saying, I'm tired, I don't feel like it, I don't want to. You might not want to, but you still got up. So, and that's where it comes into mindset as well. If we can continue to stay positive, and we can continue to have a growth mindset throughout this process, and not give up and not keep ourselves so fixed, then we're going to be able to make it through this. This is not something that I feel as though is going to be permanent. I actually think it's going to be way different than the 2008 time, where I didn't even have my license, but I was buying a house during that time. So I was pretty familiar with what was going on. It's just to where I feel as though we are going to bounce back a lot faster than people, or even, I don't like to say civilian, but it's just to where people who are not in the real estate industry are going to understand. Because I have a lot of buyers, a lot of sellers that are very concerned about this. And all I keep telling them is that we are going to be fine. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but we are going to pull through this. So, and I'm not done yet. So, one of the things too that I wanted to kind of touch on was, when you guys have questions, it's really just bringing down and breaking it down to simplifying it. Instead of putting all the noise on top of it, we really need to get back to basics. We went through the struggle for that little bit of time frame of not being able to post on social media. Now we're allowed to. I'm still being very leery of it just because I don't want any type of perception to be there. So I'm just digging into the way that we, real estate agents survived without social media. Because it's not going to be around forever. I don't feel like it's going to be, our main source of being able to reach out. I have a very personal aspect to look at it, is that it's not as personable as it is to make a phone call or to text somebody. It's somewhat generic and everybody's doing it. So we have to do something that's going to set ourselves apart from the general public. So that's something that I'm even still working on, and it's probably going to continue to be a work in progress because we're going to have to continue to evolve as times evolve. So how do you guys feel about that?
Makes sense.
Agreed.
Yay. Danielle, you're just smiling.
I think it's so true, gosh, when we had email, right? And that became the really big thing. Get everybody in your database on an email campaign, right? Send them emails because no one's sending them emails. And then all of a sudden, everyone was sending emails. Mm-hmm. And so then it was okay, well, now I'm just 1 in 1,000 sending emails. So then I was okay, we got it. They said, now you got to go back to mail because nobody's sending mail in the mailbox, right? So there's always this constant evolve. So I'm smiling because I'm just gosh, social media has turned into that. Some of it you have to do it to compete because you have to be at the same benchmark. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, you have to differentiate yourself and do something different that's going to make you memorable. And oddly, it's all of these different platforms that we have to touch on. But some of them, like the mail, doing a handwritten card that you're doing, Katie, that's differentiating you from others, right? So I just think it's so true what you're saying is that we have to differentiate yourself, and you're constantly reinventing yourself through that. Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
And I think as long as we continue to keep doing that, it's going to help us. Because I can tell you, and it's not, I promise, Danielle, I'm not bad mouthing anybody, so I don't want you to feel like I am. Coming from a different broker, there's a lot that Keller Williams offers us compared to what I got in the past. Just in the short amount of time of me being with Keller, since the end of January. I've been busier than I've ever been in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Just all the things that I've learned just in this short amount of time. And then just pulling myself out of the what I felt like was the gutter. I just felt like I wasn't getting the attention that was needed. And just being able to put myself in the correct mindset, to feel like a winner as opposed to feeling as though I was failing. So just don't get discouraged, guys, if you have a bad month. I know money can always be our biggest discouragement, but just don't feel like it's the end just because you had one bad month, because one bad month can turn into 3 good ones. So it's really just continuing to keep pulling out of that. And then not using excuses, hold yourself accountable yet again, don't allow things around you to actually distract you, which is going to kind of segue into the next thing, which is where I do need Danielle's help because I don't know how to do it. It's just over 2 minutes long. I want you guys to watch it and listen to it because it's a really cool video and I've really enjoyed watching. This guy's done a few of them. But this is a really good one. So if you guys want to go ahead and take a listen, this would be great.
I've been told it's a good idea to start a speech with a joke. Well, don't get your hopes up. I'm not here to tell jokes. I'm here to pick a fight. I'm here to pick a fight with second place. I have about as much patience for second place as I do for flies in my soup. But maybe you like flies in your soup. Maybe you like second place. Maybe you like that you gave it your best, better luck next time, malarkey. They spoon feed runner-ups. Let me put it another way. If you think second place ain't such a bad deal, why don't you ask Napoleon how he felt about coming in second at Waterloo? Not so good. Not so good. And you can spare me, it's not whether you win or lose or how you play the game bullshit. I guarantee you whoever said that
Sorry.
lost the game. Moral of the story, come in first. Still want to hear a joke? Fine. Here's one for you. Knock, knock. Who's there? The guy that finished second. The guy that finished second who? Exactly.
And that's kind of the end of it. Like they're gonna go through a couple like so if you wanted to end it, you can, Danielle. So I'm gonna kind of give you guys my perception of that first, because some people take that a little bit differently. Like some people take that as that you have to be a wolf, or you have to be somebody that's going to go out there and just take over the world, and you're going to step on whomever you have to be able to get to first place. But really, when I've watched that video more than once, I've perceived it more or less as the excuses are my second place. So the pandemic, or somebody saying like, oh, sorry, I can't get financing right now, or just anything that's really housing related that's come up as a hurdle, I consider that to be my second place. So I always tell myself I'm going to be a problem solver. I'm going to continue to keep working through this. I may have a bad day where I have a bad mindset. And I tell myself that again is my second place. And that's what I'm not going to stand for. So I'm going to continue to keep working to get past that. How did you guys feel about the video?
I liked it. I like how it's connected to the other sports and different things, just to kind of give a visual, because I'm a visual person. So that helps to remind me that you even though we came into this saying that we're not competing, there is still some competition, even if it's within yourself. So that helps me to just be like, okay, I can run this race now.
And it's good that you say running the race, because it's something that I used as an example with Danielle. I said that it was almost as though the world wants us to put our batons down and step away from the race. And sometimes our mindsets are what tell us to do that. And that's not what we want, to put ourselves in that position. You don't want to quit. You've come too far.
Right.
Everybody who's on this call, we've all spent the money to get our license. We have a passion for this. So you've come too far to quit. So don't quit. Okay. So don't ever feel like you're alone out there. Don't ever feel like there's not people out there going through the same thing. It's just make sure you just open yourself up to be vulnerable and ask questions. Because you can never ask it. In my opinion, you can never ask a stupid question.
Right.
So,
Thank you, Erin. I appreciate that.
yeah. Yep. Not a problem. And then that's kind of all I had, to be honest with you. I can keep going, but it would be hours of this. I'm like, I appreciate the volley that we've been able to go back and forth with it, and everybody's contributed. So
I have to say, though, that video is definitely an example of you. You are relentless, and you do work to have a great mindset. And you are a problem solver, and she's always looking to improve, guys. Like every time I would meet with her, she would ask me questions on how she could improve herself, or ask my opinion on something. And so I just feel like that mindset needs to be shared, because that's the mindset that helps you be successful and stay successful, is that you're always looking to be better and to grow. And it takes work to do those things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's a daily choice to do those things.
Yes.
So I love the thought process that second place is our excuses, or second place is our reason why we're not doing something, and that we can choose to not do that and focus on being in first place. So I love that. And I appreciate you.
oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Do you guys have any questions for Erin before we wrap up?
No, Erin, you've been very helpful. I
Oh,
don't
and no problem. And reach out to me anytime you need something. So
Okay, great. 'Cause
Thank you.
I have at least one question a day, and I rotate between Danielle, Missy, and Chow.
okay. Well, now you can add me to that
I try to
list.
spread it around.
I love
I
that.
don't bother one person too much.
I love that. So, guys, next week's call, we are going to dig into some of the questions that, you know, Kira and Katie and Jen have been asking is, you know, what can you do as a newly licensed agent right now? So we're going to dig into that. We're going to hang out together. So bring all the questions, but I'll also have some details for you guys too, and some real practical action items.
Is that our homework questions?
Yes. Bring
Okay, I need homework. That would be good.
I love giving homework, so yeah, bring your questions with you guys. Next week, same time, same place. We'll use the same Zoom link. And thank you so much, Erin. I really appreciate you. You are amazing, and I appreciate you sharing all of this with everybody. And she needs it. Reach out to her. She will
I
answer.
might add you to the list, Erin.
Perfectly fine.
All right,
like,
guys.
whatever list you need.
Have an amazing rest of your night.
Likewise,
Okay,
and thank
bye.
you
Have a good
again.
one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.